Question 481. How would you ensure that your teaching accommodates various learning styles in technical subjects? Accommodating various learning styles requires a diverse instructional approach. I would utilize a mix of visual, auditory, and kinesthetic teaching methods. For visual learners, I would use diagrams, charts, and videos to illustrate concepts. Auditory learners benefit from lectures and discussions, so I would incorporate group dialogues and presentations. Kinesthetic learners thrive on hands-on activities, so I would include labs and coding exercises that allow them to experiment. Offering choices in assignments, such as presentations or written reports, caters to individual preferences. Regular feedback sessions would help me assess the effectiveness of my strategies and make necessary adjustments to meet all students' needs. Question 482. What technological tools would you recommend for enhancing student engagement in a community college setting? Enhancing student engagement in a community college setting can be achieved through various technological tools. Learning management systems, LMS, like Canvas or Moodle provide platforms for organizing course materials and facilitating communication. Interactive tools such as Kahoot or quizzes can make assessments enjoyable and competitive. Utilizing video conferencing platforms like Zoom enables remote guest speakers and collaborative sessions. Additionally, code-sharing platforms like GitHub facilitate group projects and peer reviews. Social media tools can foster community outside the classroom, while discussion forums encourage engagement on course topics. By integrating these tools, I can create a dynamic and interactive learning environment that keeps students motivated and involved. Question 483. How would you approach teaching software architecture principles to students who may not have a technical background? Teaching software architecture principles to students without a technical background requires a foundational approach. I would begin by explaining the concepts using relatable analogies, comparing software architecture to city planning, where each component serves a specific purpose. Visual aids like diagrams and flowcharts can illustrate relationships and structures in a simplified manner. Incorporating hands-on activities, such as building simple applications, helps students see architecture in action. Case studies from industry can demonstrate real-world applications of architectural principles. Encouraging discussions about the impact of architecture on software performance and scalability can further enhance understanding. This approach ensures that students grasp the essentials without feeling overwhelmed. Question 484. What methods would you use to teach students about the importance of documentation in technical projects? Teaching the importance of documentation in technical projects involves practical application and real-world examples. I would begin by explaining the role of documentation in enhancing code readability, collaboration, and maintenance. Incorporating exercises where students document their code, including comments and README files, reinforces this concept. Analyzing case studies of projects with poor documentation highlights the challenges that arise, emphasizing its necessity. I would also introduce documentation tools like Markdown or Doxygen, allowing students to explore different formats. Regular peer review sessions would include evaluations of documentation quality, fostering a culture of thoroughness. Ultimately, students learn that effective documentation is critical to successful technical outcomes. Question 485. How do you envision your role in fostering a sense of community among students in a technical course? Fostering a sense of community among students in a technical course is essential for engagement and collaboration. I would create an inclusive environment where all students feel valued and heard. Implementing icebreaker activities at the start of the course helps build rapport and encourages connections. Regular group projects promote teamwork and allow students to learn from each other. Establishing a course forum or social media group can facilitate informal discussions and resource sharing. I would also organize events such as hackathons or study sessions to strengthen community bonds. By encouraging open communication and collaboration, I aim to cultivate a supportive learning environment that enhances both academic success and personal growth. Question 486. What strategies would you implement to engage a diverse student population in a community college setting? Engaging a diverse student population requires a multifaceted approach. I would implement culturally responsive teaching methods, using materials that reflect students' backgrounds. Additionally, fostering an inclusive classroom environment through group work and discussions allows students to share their perspectives. Regular feedback and open communication channels are vital for understanding students' needs. I would also integrate technology, like learning management systems, to facilitate interaction outside the classroom, ensuring that all students, regardless of their learning style, can engage with the material effectively. Question 487. How do you assess the effectiveness of your teaching methods in a community college? I assess the effectiveness of my teaching methods through a combination of formative and summative assessment tools. I use quizzes, assignments, and classroom discussions to gauge student understanding continuously. Additionally, student feedback surveys provide insight into their learning experiences. I analyze performance data against learning outcomes to identify areas for improvement. Peer evaluations and self-reflections also contribute to this assessment process. By adapting my methods based on these analyses, I can enhance my teaching strategies to better meet the needs of my students. Question 488. Describe a time you had to adapt your teaching style for a specific student demographic. In a previous role, I taught a course with a significant number of non-traditional students, many of whom were returning to education after years in the workforce. Recognizing their unique challenges, I adapted by incorporating real-world applications of course material. I utilized case studies relevant to their experiences and facilitated discussions that allowed them to share insights from their professional lives. This approach not only boosted engagement, but also helped bridge the gap between theory and practice, fostering a more meaningful learning experience for all students.